Coming to you live from the Developer Lounge here at Oracle OpenWorld 2017 and JavaOne 2017, and also for today, Oracle Code, the 21st Oracle Code. I'm Bob Rubart with the Oracle Developer Community, and my guest for what I believe is the second to last developer interview this afternoon is my guest, Oracle ACE Director and Code Champion, Lucas Jellema. Lucas, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for having me.
So I'm looking at the list of sessions that you've presented here at OpenWorld. You've got 5 sessions here. I think you have more sessions than anyone I've talked to so far. Tell me a little bit about each of those sessions.
First of all, I have to be honest, only one of those sessions was actually completely my own.
Oh,
and
come on,
in
take credit for it.
The other ones I played a part in, made a short appearance. Actually, there were 6 sessions, but some of them had me speaking for only 6 minutes.
Ah, okay.
So it may not be as impressive as otherwise it looks.
I take the credit anyway.
The one I was doing today at the Oracle Code event, that was one about something that's very close to my heart, a modern architecture style based on events. The specific topic was how to create an active UI. That's a user interface that provides the end users with the latest information without having them to use the F5 key to refresh their browser.
Okay.
And this actually requires 2 steps. Get information from the application server into the browser. And for that you can use server-sent events and WebSockets. Just 2 options, 2 relevant options. And the application server, of course, also needs to know about the things that are happening in the backend systems or even outside of the organization that are relevant. And that's where Apache Kafka comes in as the event hub. And that could be running in the cloud, the Oracle Event Hub Cloud, for example. Backend systems will publish anything that they do that's happening inside of them that's relevant to this event hub. And the application servers that are powering the end user applications can take events from the event hub and push them into the client. And I've described it in a session, I've demoed it, and I've explained the code to people in 45 minutes, which is really a challenge.
Yeah, I think so. Now I know one of the sessions that you were involved in was the Soaring in the Cloud session. Now, that's actually an updated version of a session that you and several others in the ACE program presented at, I believe it was the Middleware Forum in the spring of 2015.
2016.
2016, okay.
That's where it all started.
Earlier in the day, I talked to Danilo Schmiedel and Sven Bernhard, and they were participants in that program, but you were kind of the organizer of that thing. Talk a little bit about that session and what was involved in that.
We set ourselves a challenge to set a world record in terms of integrating, tying together Oracle PaaS cloud services. And we started, as you said, in Valencia in 2016 with 8 cloud services. And yesterday we had 19. Wow. Although you could debate whether it's 18 or 20, but something like 19. And that was the challenge. So we first of all had to define the business case. What are we doing in terms of the functionality? And then we had to find meaningful applications of each of the cloud services in terms of design and architecture. And then of course we had to implement and actually make it work.
Yeah.
And the business case is all to do with Oracle OpenWorld, the appreciation event. There's always a big act performing. And we thought, well, let's have the community propose an act. And our flow is about taking the proposal, taking it through validation and approval, and then making it available to the wider public. So in terms of the actual cloud services that are involved, it kicks off with IoT, which will use either voting machines or Twitter as its input.
Okay.
That will feed whenever we reach a certain threshold in terms of the number of votes for an artist. It will then send the information onwards to ICS. ICS sends to PCS, a workflow is started, human gets an email, has to perform the task while interacting with Document Cloud Service, Oracle Conversations, gets back to ICS when it is approved, it goes to SOACS, it is enriched with a node application on Application Container Cloud, and the result is stored in a database cloud. Then we have APIs sitting on top of the SOACS and the database cloud. That will make the information available to user interfaces. We have a JET portal running on the container cloud. We have data visualization cloud. We have ADF on JCS. We have mobile cloud and a Max application, Visual Builder Cloud Service, and we use Oracle Self-Service integration to also send it out to social media. We use Developer Cloud to organize the whole workflow around it, and we have Oracle Management Cloud to do the monitoring across the entire flow.
That's all?
That's all. And for the next time, we have a few servers that we will be adding, especially in the native container development, using functions, serverless. That's where we are heading. That's where Oracle is headed.
Yeah.
That's what we will take advantage of.
Yeah. I know Danilo and Sven mentioned that one of the key differences is, I think, in that original presentation where you integrated 8 or 10 services, you had 2 hours to do that.
Yeah,
and in
correct.
this session yesterday, you
45
had
minutes.
45 minutes.
All of 45 minutes.
Did it go well, you think?
Some things we did okay, and some things we need to improve. We focused more on showing what the actual flow looks like and how the end users will interact with each of the cloud services. And we didn't spend any time on the actual implementation. We didn't show code. We didn't show how to configure the cloud because we didn't really have the time for that. And maybe it was in the audience for that as well. The handover between the various presenters could have been a bit smoother. I think all in all, the audience got the impression.
And how many people were involved this time?
In preparing? Well, there were 5 people on stage, and they had done the preparation. I think we've had at least 10 people in our various organizations, as well as in the Oracle organization, to help us set up the services, configure them, help us with the administration of the services, and provide other services.
Now, in the original presentation, again, this was a year or so ago, that resulted in an 8-part article series that you and Lanneke Diekmans was involved, and Mark Simpson,
and Torsten,
and Torsten Winterberg. Can we expect an article to come out of this particular experience yesterday?
Well, we certainly have gained a lot of experience that will allow us to extend and extrapolate from the previous series and sort of renders the previous series redundant, because so much has changed in the Oracle Cloud and also in what we did using the Oracle Cloud. So I think it's probably a good idea.
Well, let's talk about what's changed in the ensuing nearly 2 years since that original presentation. What has changed in the Oracle Cloud?
We see a move towards more cloud native on the one hand. Less need to use the on-premise products in their cloud incarnation, if you like WebLogic, SOA Suite in the cloud. It's much easier, more convenient to make use, for example, of ICS, to make use of JET and Visual Builder. So we see more native PaaS services on the one hand, and on the other we see more generic technologies being supported on the Oracle Cloud, like Docker in the Container Cloud, like the various technologies in the Application Container Cloud. So we can also expand into technologies that are closer to heart of a larger developer community. It's tied less into with typical Oracle stuff, if you like, and more with general technologies. That's part of it. We used to have quite a bit of an issue with making the services talk to each other, and to be honest, we even used a few secret components, some of them not even living on the Oracle Cloud, because we couldn't make the services talk to each other. Most of them have been resolved, and maybe even as part of our experience and our feedback to Oracle, that may have been the case. So to do actually what we showed in Valencia, but tricked it a little at that time, now it was almost real. There's still a few tricks
Okay.
up our sleeves. But it's definitely the case that the experience of integrating the services is much better than it was a year and a half ago.
You were one of 5 experts that I stuffed into my tiny hotel room at the Westin St. Francis last night. We had a great, fun conversation that will be presented on an upcoming Oracle Developer Community podcast.
So no video, that's unfortunate.
No video, a couple of photographs, but no video. But okay. Keep your eye on the Oracle Developer blog for information on when that podcast will be available. But ostensibly, the topic for that conversation was the impact of different trends and technologies over the last 12 months.
Although it seems like we've discussed all of mankind.
Well, it went everywhere, but that's a good thing. But from your perspective, your personal perspective as a developer, as an architect, what trend or technology had the greatest impact on your work over the last 12 months?
You asked the same question yesterday. And
yes, but now we just get your perspective.
There are so many things going on. One thing is very clear to me is that the cloud is now beyond its tipping point. And where before the cloud was for the innovators and perhaps the early adopters, but definitely not for a larger group of organizations.
But you think cloud adoption is just exploded?
Where 2 to 3 years ago, security was a reason to not go to the cloud. Today it's the other way around. Security is one of the reasons to go to the cloud because organizations realize they don't have the expertise and will never be able to keep up with all the various threats and all the technological development to be able to manage security and other IT challenges themselves. So now security and other reasons will propel organizations into the cloud, and that's happening today. That's a realization that came to me over the last few months. I didn't say the same thing last year.
Yeah.
I was trying to buy into the cloud story, but I wasn't really there yet. And the same applies to many organizations. But now it's happening. So that's an important one.
Yeah.
On a more, well, actually, I was going to say on a more personal level, but the cloud also changed a lot for me on a personal level. I've got so much infrastructure and so much PaaS services at my fingertips. I have a pretty serious and powerful laptop, but I don't really need it because I do everything in a browser.
Right.
And the command line window. I'm SSHing all the time. I didn't used to do that. So the cloud also made me into an administrator of my own environments. But a kind of technology that I can leverage, that I can play with, and not just me, any small organization or large organization without any lead time. If you decide this afternoon I would like to play with a big data cluster, you can do so. But then the stuff that I really still do on my laptop, what made a large change is containers. With Docker, it's so much easier to spin up an environment, make use of configurations of environments that have been prepared by others. For the demo I was doing this morning, I needed a fairly complex Kafka cluster with a number of supporting managing services. One of the ACE directors, Guido Schmutz, was kind enough to make available to me a Vagrant file and a Docker Compose YAML file. And that was all I needed. I could run it, and all the tooling started to zoom and whistle on my machine, and the entire complex environment came into existence. Configuration as code, infrastructure platform as code. It's extremely powerful. And when I do presentations or workshops or community events, containers are a very easy way to make the environment available.
Interesting.
So that's an important one too.
If we can assume, again, you were involved in 5 sessions here. If we can assume that there's a connecting thread between all those sessions, what is the key message or key takeaway that you would want your audience to remember from those 5 sessions? If they jot one thing down, what do you want that to be?
At the risk of being repetitive, the one thing that ties all my sessions together would have to be cloud. And there was much more than that. Architectural details, grand visions. But the one thing that really returned in each session was cloud.
Yeah.
And the inevitable route to the cloud that organizations are taking, the only way is up, is a title I used for one of my slides. That's both for going from on-premise to the cloud and for moving up in the stack. Organizations in 5 years' time, I'm convinced, will not do infrastructure at all. There's no reason to buy your own computers, to manage your own computers. But I also think that they will do much less platform than they do today. Why have a DBA to run your own database? What's so special about your database? And whether it's an autonomous database, a managed service, I don't know exactly where it's going, but I don't think most organizations that have DBAs employed right now will do so in the near future. And that's also going to be a major change.
Yeah.
Maybe for the first time IT is automating IT. That's a new experience.
Yeah, yeah.
A sobering one to a certain extent.
Indeed, indeed. You are a prolific blogger on the Amis Technology blog. Give the people who are watching the URL for that blog.
That's very simple, technology.amis.nl.
And you are on Twitter at Lucas Jellema?
Yep.
Okay, so follow him. He is a wildly prolific blogger and in great detail, writes great stuff. Pay attention to what he's saying. If you want more information for developers, check out developer.oracle.com. That's a new Oracle developer community website where you'll find all sorts of content specifically for developers on cloud, microservices, chatbots, you name it. And also blogs.oracle.com/developers. That's the developer blog. Thanks for watching. This is the second to last interview for this afternoon, so stay tuned for one more, and then we'll be back tomorrow with more live interviews. Stay tuned.